2, baby. Part 2. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Before we get started here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell to get notifications for every time we post new juicy content. Are you dieting and working your ass off in the gym and doing all things seemingly healthy, but you have lost your period? It may be time for you to reconsider your routine. What's up guys, Sarah here, holistic nutritionist specializing in the psychology of eating. Welcome back to the second video in my new ongoing mini-series, When Should You Not Diet? Today we're going to be talking about periods, and more specifically amenorrhea. Amenorrhea is when you stop getting your period. While many of us may complain about that time of the month due to bloating, cramping, and discomfort, your period is actually a really great marker for health. And in fact, it's vital to your health, and for that very reason alone, we should be welcoming it every month. There are a handful of reasons why you may have lost your period. Way too many to go over in this single video. However, if you have lost your period, please go talk to your doctor about it. This is not to replace medical advice. As I was saying, there are so many reasons why you may have lost your period. But if you are someone who is dieting, undereating, and overtraining, this might be one of them. When we drastically reduce our energy intake, not only can this affect our thyroid, which can lead to weight gain, weight loss resistance, and other health complications, but it can also affect your reproductive and menstrual health. When your body fat percentage gets too low, this can lead to a loss of period. This can depend from person to person, but usually when you drop below the 20% body fat mark, I personally lost my period when I dropped below 18% body fat when I was bodybuilding. Just a little bit about periods. There are 5 main hormones to consider when we think about the menstrual cycle. We have estrogen, we have progesterone, we have follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and testosterone. Fats are required for hormone production. In fact, food is often overlooked, and it is absolutely required for the production and secretion of hormones within the body. Omega-3s and your essential fatty acids are the building blocks of hormones themselves and are a part of every cell membrane in the human body. Because they are essential, it is imperative that we get them through our diet because the body cannot produce them on its own. It's also important to consider healthy blood sugar levels. We want to eat balanced meals including essential fatty acids and complex carbohydrates and proteins to help manage blood sugar, because this can also impair hormone production and ovulation. I'd also like to mention stress and cortisol, because when we are exercising, especially if we are underfed, we're putting a lot of stress onto our system. When cortisol is elevated, this can affect our hunger hormones. So elevated levels of cortisol can inhibit the production of leptin, which is a hormone that signals to the brain that we are full and that we've had enough to eat. And it will enhance the production of ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone that tells us that we are hungry and to eat more food. Not only do we need to consider our macronutrients, so our fats, carbohydrates, and our proteins, but we also need to consider our micronutrients, so our vitamins and minerals, which we get mostly through plants. Vitamins and minerals also play a really important role in hormone production and hormone regulation. And if we aren't getting enough, the system can become impaired. Birth control pills are often prescribed to women who have lost their period. But when you're on birth control, you don't get a real period because you are not ovulating. So this is something called a withdrawal bleed. In fact, if you are someone who struggles with amenorrhea or irregular cycles, your doctor may have already prescribed you a birth control pill. And this is really common for conditions such as PCOS or endometriosis. So your doctor may have been already prescribing you birth control pills. However, I feel like this is putting a band-aid on a bullet wound because we're not addressing why you may have lost your period to begin with. So if you are dieting and you are undereating and you are training, I would reconsider your routine. This is very common for a lot of competitive athletes to lose their menstrual cycle. However, that is like 1% of the population, and the average person does not need to be training to that intensity. Intermittent fasting is something that has become very popular, and intermittent fasting, if you're not familiar, it's a diet trend where you typically eat within an 8-hour window and you fast for 16 hours. But when people practice intermittent fasting, usually they skip breakfast. And so if you're someone who has lost your period and you're practicing intermittent fasting, I would not recommend skipping your balanced breakfast with your essential fatty acids and your complex carbs and your proteins for a cup of coffee, which is going to elevate cortisol levels, which can affect our stress levels and our blood sugar. If you have lost your period, sometimes eating an extra 300 to 500 calories a day could really help. We need to gain a little bit of weight, and we need to nourish ourselves so that our bodies can function properly, which will ultimately allow us to do the things that we want to do. So if you're someone who has an aesthetic goal and you're on an intense training program and you're not a competitive athlete, and you have lost your period, it may be time to adjust. What is your priority? Do you want to maintain such a low body weight when your body is giving you signs that it's malnourished? Or do you want to gain a few pounds and potentially get your period back without going on the birth control pill? If you guys want to stay updated with all things ESC, please follow the link below and subscribe to our newsletter and stay updated on all of our tips, tricks, and promotions. We also have a bunch of free giveaways just for you. Until next time, don't forget to eat, squat, and come. Take care.